All right. Oh snap! Who's that?
This is my cat.
What's his name?
This is my cat, Ralph.
Oh man, Ralph is crazy.
I know, right?
That's
Isn't he a cute
awesome.
cat?
What kind of cat is it? Is you
He's
like?
he's a short hair exotic.
Wow. He's got that face where he's just looking grumpy.
Yeah, he's the
Adorable
grumpy cat.
grumpy.
Yeah, he's a grumpy cat. Yeah, so he's part Persian and part short hair gray.
Okay. He's cool.
Yeah. Yep,
Well,
yep.
welcome. We're here with Val Dagrain. It's been a while, but I was going back through like old podcasts and I realized like you and me did a podcast. It was well over 10 years ago,
hmm
back
At
in
Orchid
Trenton
House.
at
Yeah.
Orchid House. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's wild.
Yeah, I think that was the inaugural year of Orchid House. And now they've been going, like you said, like almost 10 years strong.
Oh, good for
Um,
them.
Yeah, that building, if you walked into that building now, you would barely recognize it, man. You know, it looks, next time you're in Jersey, you should check it out. They're doing a lot of great stuff. Still in Trenton.
Oh, cool. Did you go visit it when you were back in town?
You know what I didn't, which I should have, but I didn't, not last time. I was in Trenton most recently, like a month ago in June for the World Cup. But before that, I went the summer 2025 and I did visit Orchid House then. But my boy Elijah, who owns and operates it, he's actually running for state Congress in New Jersey
Oh
right
wow.
now. Yeah, shout out Elijah Davis. I think he's going after Bonnie Watson Coleman, her
Okay.
old seat. Yeah, in the
I
state
don't even
legislature.
know what's going on in Jersey with politics these days.
Me either, honestly. But I know Elijah's running. There's like a lot of people running. There's like it's like a big um it's almost like the year of the millennials where it seems like some of these seats that have been held by older folks, this is one of those elections where it's like some of those older people are like retiring and then there's like this whole new crop of young people um that are in have thrown their hats in.
I saw
So
there
it's
was a
gonna be
kid coming
interesting.
out from Hightstown, where we went to high school, that was
Yeah,
running for something. It is kind of wild seeing people like my age now or even younger, and they're like running for
yeah,
seats.
yeah, we're the new adults. It's crazy.
Yeah, yeah. It took us a little while, but we've arrived.
Yeah, I think you're talking about that Indian kid, right? I don't know his name. Yeah,
Yeah,
he
I
went
don't
to
know his name off the
Hightstown.
top either.
I think he's younger than both of us. But I saw him talking about renovating or like doing up the Riverwalk in Trenton real nice. Because I don't know
Oh,
if people
cool.
realize, but Trenton is right on the Delaware River, the Washington Crossing. And he's just like, we have this beautiful ballpark here, Trenton Thunder Baseball Park. And it's like, why don't we have a river walk like every other fucking city that's on a river? It's like, why the
Yeah,
fuck? It's like, why don't we have a river walk? And I think he's gotten a lot of attention just by asking basic questions like that, which I think would do a lot for Trenton.
yeah, absolutely. I mean, a lot of those towns that are on the river do have river walks in Jersey and PA,
Yeah,
and like they attract people out there.
yep,
But
it's
yeah, that
true, but
view.
not Trenton. And then just sorry, we're on like a whole Jersey tangent, but Jersey does have a new governor, a young lady. I don't know her name. Let me see if I can look it up. But I heard her talking very briefly about potentially getting the Nets back in New Jersey. Mickey
Let's
Sherrill.
go.
I know,
Let's go.
right?
I get on board with that.
Yeah, her name is Mickey Sherrill. And I heard her
Yeah, I mean
talking
it.
briefly.
It's sad that Jersey doesn't have a professional basketball team anymore. You know.
Yeah, bro. Yeah, no, it's a true American tragedy. Especially when the Knicks just won.
Mm-hmm. with a bunch
especially
of
with
Jersey boys on the team.
a bunch of Jersey boys on their team. It's like I think this is a good time to start having that conversation because in Brooklyn, the Nets are they're not even they're the Clippers, but not even.
Yeah, I don't even know what happened with the Nets. They're still in Brooklyn.
Yeah, they're still in Brooklyn, but it's like no one takes them seriously. Like every time they play the Knicks, it's an away game.
Mm,
You know, all the Knicks fans just take over Barclays.
mm-hmm.
So it's like I don't
Interesting.
yeah, I don't understand. I don't think they actually want to be there. I don't think the players want to be there. The borough, I mean, I don't know. Brooklyn people are so head ass that I'm sure there's a lot of people who do want them there, but most of those people are Knicks fans.
Yeah, it's hard to have two teams in the city and not have everyone just go with the Knicks.
Yeah, I
Dude,
mean,
I wanted to ask you, because you said you just went to the World Cup and
yep,
you went and saw Haiti Brazil, right?
sure did. Yep. That was crazy.
Tell us a little bit about what that experience was like. Just the vibe, the energy. How's it different than like a regular professional sporting event?
It was incredible. Um, it was incredible, dude. Like the vibes were just immaculate, like through the roof. It was mostly Brazilians. I was kind of first. Let me just say that, like, how incredibly gracious that all the Brazilians were that I came in contact with. Like, it felt like a friendly match. Like, it felt like everybody was rooting for each other because Haitians love Brazilian soccer,
Mm-hmm.
love Brazilian soccer. Like for my entire life, always Haitians are always rooting for Brazil in the World Cup. And I asked my uncle why that is on this trip, and he said because of Pele. And I was like,
Mm,
of
cause
course, it's because of Pele. Yeah,
yeah,
I guess Pele was like the first black soccer player that they saw themselves in, like on the world stage. And ever since then, I was kind of surprised. The Brazilians were incredibly gracious, but I was kind of surprised. I thought, like, I mean, I don't even know, like, how to say this, but besides just straight up, but I was kind of surprised, like, how white the Brazilians were.
uh
They
huh.
looked like they was all from East Windsor. But
Well,
again,
I guess
incredibly gracious.
yeah.
Yeah, and I guess those are maybe the people who could afford the tickets and get the visa,
Mm,
especially under this administration. You know what I mean? But again, they were just so gracious. It felt like a friendly match. They beat us pretty handedly, but like even leading up to the game, they would play like Haitian music, and all the Brazilians were dancing, and then they would play Brazilian music, and all the Haitians were dancing, and
oh, cool.
it was like no animosity, not where I was at least in
Yeah.
the stadium. It was just all love. It just felt like two countries who really had a lot of respect for each other.
Yeah, I guess too. It's not like a huge rivalry,
Yeah,
and Brazil probably felt they could handle Haiti, so it doesn't have that same energy of like a Brazil Argentina game or something where they come in like hating each other.
it's true. It's true. I think part of it was that we weren't really a threat to them. And even the way the players came out, like obviously I want to give up all the respect to the Haitian soccer players because they made history. Especially the one dude who scored that crazy goal versus Morocco. I mean, that guy's gonna be like they might put a statue up of him. Um, but even like the game versus Brazil, though, I felt like the Haitian players were a little apprehensive. Like
Mm,
I felt like they weren't really getting out it, and it's because it's like I imagine it's like a young kid growing up in Ohio who makes it to the NBA, and now you're playing against LeBron, and you're like,
yeah,
oh shit, this is fucking LeBron James, and it kind of takes you a second to wake up.
yeah, and you only get one game. It's not like you in
Yeah,
basketball you get 20, 30 the whole season to get better.
exactly.
What
Yeah,
was
exactly.
like I'm not a big soccer fan by any means. I'm like a typical kind of gringo where it's American football, basketball. But every
Yeah,
World Cup, I start to get into it, and like it surprises me. And once I sort of get past this idea, like yeah, there's not gonna be a lot of goals, and watch a lot of games, it's like I always have like a newfound respect. But I don't know. What was your just impression on like the tournament overall? And did you watch a lot of games? Did you get into it?
I loved it, dude. I do. I don't. I'm not really one for soccer either. I'm a Jersey boy like you, so it's basketball, 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 then football, American football. But I've been getting into the World Cup for a while now. I don't know. It's just something about the World Cup that's just unlike any other tournament really in the world. Um, and it's exciting, man. Like, and I get it. It's like soccer. I was joking around with my boy, and I was like, man, they need to put like a 2 point line on the pitch because
Mm.
it's like they got to do something to make it. If they want Americans to watch, there has to be more action. Like, you gotta like let them fight or give them guns or something.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
Like,
yeah. I don't know. I heard a funny joke the other day where a dude was like, he's like, Americans talk about the high scoring sports, but he's
hmm
like, American football, he's like, it's 21-14. He's like, nah, bro, it's really 3-2.
yeah, it's true. But you also don't see a lot of 0-0 games in American football.
No, you
But
don't see it. The 0-0 games are hard, like, to convince Americans to watch. I
yeah,
think for me, after watching the tournament, it wasn't the low scoring because I got used to it and I was like, oh, I could actually just see the momentum and the beauty of how the game's developing.
hmm
But the thing that kills me is the flopping, and it's like,
yeah, mm,
oh man, every play
same.
you're doing like 8 somersaults and grabbing your knee, and
Yeah, yep.
that
And
hurts the game in my opinion.
it's so true, dude. It's so true. And like, we're Jersey boys, so of course, like all my analogies are basketball, but like, it's true. And I feel like a lot of that culture is like bleeding into basketball, American basketball, where it's like
Yeah.
they look like soccer players out there, like begging for calls, and even like the concept of an offsides, like, because soccer is actually kind of similar to basketball in some ways. And it's like what we would call a good pass in basketball, they call it offsides. Like a
Mm.
backdoor pass. You know what I
Well,
mean? You get
it's like cherry picking though. That's like the basketball equivalent
yeah,
where you don't
yeah,
play D and
exactly.
you go forward. That's
But
kind
I'm
of the
like, fuck
basketball
that, yo.
equivalent.
Let the motherfuckers run, bro. Like, if you can't get back, bro, then you just get burned. Like, that's the game. If
Yeah.
you can't get back, you just get burned. And I think that would increase the goals, get more
Yeah.
Americans interested.
Yeah, I don't know if Americans like will ever soccer. I don't think it will ever be our sport.
Yeah.
But we could get better at it. And I mean, another thing I realized this year watching it is like it's such a cool sport in the sense that like an average sized person can play. Like they're all
Mhm.
great athletes, but it's like Messi is like 5'6" and he's the best
Yeah.
player ever. Whereas
Uh,
basketball and American football, like you're kind of born with that body, and if you don't
mhm.
have it, like it's very limited.
It's true. It's true. Yeah. Basketball, it's like, yeah, I mean, even me, I'm 6'3", and it's like, I would pretty much have to be Steph Curry to make the league. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Even though my boy Darrell, shout out Darrell from Hightstown that we both know, he still to this day swears that you're the best point guard to ever go through Hightstown.
Shout out to Darrell. Keep the legend alive. Appreciate it.
We
I
had
don't
some
know.
solid point guards there when I was there. But I mean, I've hooped with you. I can definitely see, how that might have been the case once upon a time. Um, but I never saw you like in your day though.
Yeah, well, you never will. I've hung up the shoes, man. My my knees
Yeah.
have no more ball in my life. Um,
Yeah. Uh, but soccer
so
is great.
yeah, no, I had a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun watching the tournament. I'm actually a little sad that it's over and I won't watch soccer for another 4 years.
Yeah, exactly.
So, all right, I wanted to hear a little bit. You've been working in the film industry for the past what 5-6 years now.
Yep, that's exactly right. Yeah, 5, 6 years. Almost six
All right,
years.
tell me a little bit about how you got into it, what you do exactly,
Yeah.
and yeah, let's just start there.
Yeah, for sure. I'm a camera assistant mainly. Like I operate mostly as like an AC, like we call it, where like my job on set is pretty much like so there are different departments. Um, my department, like there's a camera department, lighting, there's like wardrobe, set deck, all types of like probably a dozen different departments. And my department is camera, and my job is so there's a DP who's director of photography, who's kind of like the head of the camera and the lighting department, the cinematographer who's responsible for like the look and the storytelling, the visual aspect of the storytelling. Works really closely with the director. And so, and then underneath the DP is would be a camera operator, who's responsible for um, composing frames. You know what I mean? Framing shots up. Like he's responsible for really everything in that frame, executing the shots, whether it's handheld or you're on a dolly or a steady cam rig. Um, you're composing the frame. So like you'll see a lot of times like the great operators, they'll be um, almost like the DP is like the coach with the headset on, and then the camera operator is like the quarterback out there. And it's like if there's like a bogey in the frame or something that's not supposed to be there, you'll see a lot of the great camera operators will be like, oh, like somebody's coffee cups right there in the frame, like, get that out of there. You know what I mean? Stuff like that. Or like, or I can see the stand, I can see the camera, I can see the light stand, so they'll adjust the frame or they'll ask the guys to push their stands back. So that's the operator. And then there's a first AC, which is me, um, who's responsible for the focus and pretty much just running the show, like everything, building the camera bodies, and just like a technician on set and really understanding like the hardware that's on the camera, everything connected to it. Um, also versed in the software inside the camera and like knowing, just understanding how to do frame lines and change settings and all this and that. And then there's a second AC, which is what I do mostly. I do first sometimes, mostly second, which is like the person who like famously slaps they'll be like, rolling, take two, blah, blah, blah. And then they'll clap the
Yeah.
slate.
Okay.
So that's me. And also, oftentimes managing data, which is like taking the memory cards out of the camera and saving them on the hard drives, like
Mm.
sometimes doing uploads, downloads, transcode, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, so that's me. I'm like an assistant's assistant. you
That's cool
know,
though. What are
yeah.
have you worked on any like really cool projects recently or since you've been doing it?
Yeah, I've been really lucky, dog. I've worked on like so much cool shit. Like, it's really like it's kind of a blur. It's kind of hard to remember. Like, I would have to look at my schedule
Hmm.
to see what's like been recently. But I did um I did a No Limit documentary recently. I'm sure you remember No Limit, Master P,
Hmm.
legendary New Orleans rap crew. Um, and there was a member, No Limit Mac. I don't know if remember No Limit Mac.
No, not really.
A lot of older hip hop heads and people from New Orleans know Mac. He was one of the um, one of the more popular No Limit rappers at the time. It was like Mystical, Silk the Shocker, Mac, Fiend, Mia X, like a bunch of heads. Um, Mac was really popular, and he actually got bumped off. Went to prison for murder for killing a young man whom he did not kill. Like everybody knows, it's like an open secret in New Orleans that Mac didn't kill this boy, but
Uh-huh.
Mac, he ended up doing 20 years behind it. Came
Was he
home.
ever, was he ever acquitted, or did he just get out on bail?
Yeah, nah, he wasn't exonerated. He got out on he paroled out. So he kind of yeah, he paroled out. He did like 21 years for it. But it really is like an open secret. Like everybody knows who the person who committed the murder's name is mentioned multiple times in the documentary by multiple people. This individual actually confessed to the crime at one point. Um, it was just one of those situations where this is like in the late 90s and it was a show concert Mac was performing at and shots ring out. And shots ring out, Mac being like a young high profile individual foolishly pulls out his pistol to protect himself. So he pulls
Mm.
his pistol out, just trying to get him and his peoples out safely. But in doing that, he's a tall dude. In doing that, what a lot of the witnesses ended up seeing that night was they heard was shots fired and they looked up and they saw Mac holding a pistol. And because he had a big name and them people was really just trying to make an example out of him, you know what I mean? He was the big name. Everybody knew his name. They didn't know these other members, these other people that are there that night, you know? And so he ended up just like going down for that. But, and I think the state even knows that he didn't do it. They just don't want to admit fault because they don't want to be held liable. It's like
Mm.
it's this whole weird dark corner of the justice system where people are found to be innocent and still the state's not willing to admit it. And essentially what ends up happening is a lot of times they'll offer you parole or just really essentially offer you the chance to come home, but you have to
But
sign paperwork
they don't
w-
admit that
and
they
they
don't
don't
acquit
admit
you.
fault. Yeah. They'll be like, you can go
Wow.
home, but we're not going to admit fault. You know what I mean?
Wow. That's dirty.
Because if they were to exonerate him, then they would be liable and Matt could sue them for a bunch of money, you know? But
So
I
this
mean, it's
documentary explores his life in that case.
yeah, it's this really dope dude. Mike Shaheen is the director and producer on it. Who he's been following the case for like 20 years. Him and Mac are like brothers, so he's like a super fan who also works in the film industry. And um, just early on, he got involved in Mac's case and has kind of been working on this documentary for 20 years. The whole time Mac's been in prison, and it's really dope to kind of see that all coming together. You know, Mac's home now, um, and you know it's really dope. Like just because he's a legend out here in the NO, so just walking around with him and like seeing the love he still gets, and um, you know, getting to talk and see how it's impacted his family.
And is the doc out somewhere now that people could watch it, or is it coming out?
Nah, it's not out yet. We were literally just filming like not even a month ago, like 3 weeks ago.
Okay.
We finished shooting. Yeah, nah, but I have worked on a lot of cool stuff that is out. Like there's a documentary on I think it's on Prime. It's called Sacred Soil. It's really dope. Directed by JJ, our wonderful fearless leader, JJ Anderson. Directed it. She's a really dope like
Yeah, cool.
documentarian. We
Did
went
you
to
work on Did you work on Sinners?
nah, I wish.
That was shot in Louisiana, right?
Yeah, a lot of my friends did though. Like, yeah, I know a lot of people who worked on Sinners. It was definitely a New Orleans, Louisiana production, and the city's been going up since then, honestly. You know, a lot of the people, like the extras and that were in it, and the people behind the camera. Yeah, a lot of New Orleans locals and natives all through there. Yeah.
What's sort of the difference between film out of Louisiana, out of New Orleans, as opposed to like I don't know what's going on in Hollywood now, or yeah, like what's the scene like? I know post Katrina film was huge for like 4 or 5 years, and I think it had a lot to do with tax breaks. And then I think some of those
Yeah.
started to get rolled back, and it seemed like it went down a little bit. But what's
Yeah.
the sort of vibe now?
Um, yeah, we were super popping after COVID. I feel like we just, you were one of the main reasons I moved to New Orleans initially. So like, and you know the city I know really well, like I do, and that it's just like a unique place, you know. So like, film in New Orleans is like very New Orleans in that it's like it's very cultural. Like, the city looks like no other place. So a lot of times when people want to shoot for New Orleans, they kind of have to come to New Orleans at some point, you know,
Hmm.
um, because there's just not a lot of places that look like here. So, um, it it was a thriving industry for some time, and I think it did have a lot to do with the legislation and the tax cuts. And they tried to roll it back when our current governor came into office, but they really weren't able to do that. So what's impacting the film industry even more than that now, because there has been a slowdown, is the strikes. There were a lot of like there was a writer strike. There were a lot of strikes.
Hmm.
I think there might even still be some unions still on strike currently. So that's been like a major holdup. That was kind of when because we were popping like all through COVID, and then it's like that carpet just got ripped from underneath. And it was pretty dramatic. I do mostly non-union stuff like documentaries and music videos and stuff like that, commercials.
Hmm.
So thankfully, I was not as impacted as people like, the A1s who do the union features and big tier one major budget features and films and TV shows. Um, but yeah, man, those people were, it was like a hard stop. Sinners was one of the very last things they shot out here. And even Sinners, everything was dead for like a full year. And then Sinners came to town.
Mm.
Um, and there hasn't really been any major features. Well, there is God is. There was a couple, like maybe like tier twos. Um, but Sinners was the last major thing to come through here. The unions impacted the American market dramatically. A lot of these productions, like I was on Mayfair Witches season two, which is like on Netflix and AMC, um, which is really dope. I worked that a couple years ago at this point, and it's an incredible experience. But season three, they're shooting in Canada.
And it's more it has more to do with the unions than like any state legislation or
Yeah, it
tax
has to
break
do with the
rollback.
unions and the free healthcare. They don't have to pay for healthcare in Canada and in the UK. And it's like the labor is just cheaper. Like, people are shooting in Bulgaria, they're shooting in Eastern Europe, they're shooting like um, anywhere but here. The weird part about it for us, a lot of the crew members who feel left behind is one, just being left behind. But two, also what makes it like weird is how these are still being marketed as American films. But they're
Mm.
not. They're not American films. Like we shot it in Bulgaria with like half your crews from I don't even know where. It's like writers are from here. Cast is half the cast isn't from here. It's like these aren't American films. I do think people still want to see American films, and it is kind of weird that they can market them like that, even though they're not.
Yeah, I mean,
You
it's
know?
almost just kind of like we outsource the whole manufacturing industry, over the course of our lifetimes, where everything is made outside of America. But then
Yep.
it comes back into America almost in the guise of like an American style.
Yep. 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 Exactly. And that's kind of what's happening now. But I think people are getting tired. Like, like Bulgaria is great, for a weekend.
You mean like
For
the
like, I'm
cast that has to
sure.
go out there and shoot?
Right. Yeah. Like I would love to go to Bulgaria for like a week or two, but like, you're not gonna be able to like get an Uber Eats smoothie at 3 o'clock in the morning. You know, like I
Yeah.
love Jamaica, but you're not getting Uber Eats for the night. Um,
Yeah. Hey, what's up? Thanks for watching the show. Thank you for listening. I really appreciate it. I'm your host. My name is Nate Lost. If you want to support the show, please hit subscribe. Also, check out my book, The Renaissance Man Project. This is a book I started when I was 25 years old, many years ago. The idea was to travel the world and for 1 month to study intensely the skills of the Renaissance Man Project. So I won't go into too much more detail, but it is how I ended up here in Mexico City and hosting the Talk to People podcast. Thanks again for listening, and back to the show. Well, I mean, one of the things that I'm imagining is affecting the industry as well as it's affecting all industries, right? Is AI and artificial intelligence. Um, has that started to affect your work at all, or like how are people in your industry thinking about AI?
um, I feel like AI is like I feel like a lot of people are worried about AI, but I don't think it's actually like impacting our industry much. Um, Not yet, at least. I I have had this conversation with some people, like some producers that I work with, and like just asking them like if they incorporate AI in any way. And the little bit of AI that I do see people like work like our age using is like admin work. Like producers will use it. They'll use AI for like payroll stuff and like just like tedious paperwork things and call sheets, making call sheets. And I've seen people, I've used AI like storyboarding,
Mm-hmm.
like when you're making a shot list. And before, there were like artists that people would hire that would like sit there and actually sketch when you're making like a shot list to have like a reference, like photo or like sketch of what's happening. And I think those people have been impacted, like those sketch artists,
Mm-hmm.
those storyboard artists, have been impacted. But it's mostly stuff like that. Like I haven't I've seen people use AI to edit stuff like podcasts, really, not really like narratives or anything like that, or documentaries even. But I've seen people use AI to edit like podcasts and
Yeah, for
kind
sure.
of,
I'll probably pull up a clip of this with AI to share, you
yeah,
know.
right.
But
Yeah,
what you're
like stuff
saying
like
kind of
that.
is it's like still kind of around the fringes, like taking over busy work and work that creative people aren't don't necessarily want to do. But
Exactly. Like, I don't think like the tier one professionals are really like looking at AI as like a realistic threat, present day threat. I think it's more just like something down the line, like almost like Y2K. I kind of liken it to like Y2K. I feel like people are freaking out about AI.
but
Like people are freaking
Y2K,
out
I
about
mean
AI.
Y2K nothing happened, right? I mean it's very clear that AI is real, you know.
I mean, a digital revolution happened. I think that was part of the scare with Y2K was like, what is this digital
Yeah.
revolution going to look like? And there was a digital revolution, but I do
Yeah.
think it was kind of like people were just, yeah, everybody's worried about AI, but really your jobs are going overseas. I feel like that's kind
Yeah,
of
that's a good point. I, I mean,
like
they've been going overseas, leaving the U.S. for our entire lifetimes, right?
exactly, and it's a global world. It's a global market. We got to compete globally, unlike our parents, but, but it is what it is. We got to be able to compete globally. I still think, like I said, I think there's people still want to see American films. So there's a path forward, you know. Um, it's just going to be different. We got to adapt,
Yeah,
you
I
know.
agree. I mean, I think we're definitely, the world is not the same as it was when we grew up, where it was all American films, right? Um,
Yeah,
you now have Koreans making incredible films, films from all over the world, and it also seems
Nigerians.
like Nigerians, yeah. But it does also seem like, at least as far as what's coming out of Hollywood, I went to the movies the other night to see the Odyssey, and it was great. Um,
Yeah,
but all the previews of the movies before the Odyssey, they're all like superhero movies. They're all recycled IP,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
So they're
yeah.
just taking something they already know will work,
Hmm.
recycling it, making back their
Yeah,
money. But there's been like a lack of risk taking in that industry, and obviously there's people are still taking risks and making good movies, but it's not the same game it was in the 90s or early 2000s.
yeah. It's true. It's like I think the studios they're just kind of concerned with making money, so they're gonna do like the safer bet. But what's dope, and even like the very last thing I shot this weekend was like an ultra budget short horror, ultra low budget short. It was a proof of concept for a horror film with this young writer director from New York that we just shot on a micro budget, and I think that
What does a micro budget look like more or less?
I mean, I don't know what their total budget was, but I would probably saying like under 5K. Under 5K is a micro budget.
Okay, super micro. Okay.
Yeah, like very micro. Like I'll be surprised if they had more than 5K.
Wow.
Um, I was working for close to like an eighth of like what I would normally make for my position, 1/8. Um, but but I feel like that's kind of where people are taking risks, where you're
Yeah,
kind
in
of seeing more
the
interesting stuff.
independent creative
Yeah,
space. And back in the day, you couldn't take those risks because everything was so expensive. The technology didn't
exactly.
exist. Now
Yeah.
anyone can make a movie.
Yeah, now almost anybody can make a movie. Yeah. And I think you're even seeing like you're seeing some the rise of the YouTubers, like you know, um the Backrooms kid making a ton of money directing major features, tier one features, you know. And yeah, I feel like that's kind of where you're gonna see like the more kind of like, like it's like that with music too. Speaking of, didn't you just drop an album?
Yeah, me and Justin just finished up an album that we recorded this year.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
it
yeah.
was
How was
fun.
that?
It was fun because we didn't really have any plan of making an album. He was just making a
Yeah.
lot of music, and he was just
Yeah.
sending me like instrumentals almost every night.
Yeah.
And I just set up a mic in my house, and I would just, freestyle and write lyrics and come up, try to turn his instrumentals into a song. And over time, I was like, holy shit, I've got like 20 rough drafts. Like, this
Yeah.
might shape itself. But it was nice, like that, to work like in an intimate, not intimate together with Justin, unfortunately, because he's in New Orleans, I'm in Mexico City, but like
Yeah.
with my own creative process, where it's just like I'm just doing this for fun, and it made the album different than if I had gone to a studio with like a set idea.
Right, right. You feel like it was more intimate because you were just like at the crib.
It was more loose, it was more playful,
Yeah.
and it
Yeah.
was something I've been trying to go for. Like, I try to take music, like, not be so serious, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, for
Yeah, I do
sure.
that. Last night I was listening to your music. Last night I was going back in time. I
Right.
was listening to Major Crimes and Unicorns, um, and Easy. Dude,
Yeah.
those are two
Yeah.
classic
Yeah,
hip
bro.
hop bangers.
It's so funny. Like Easy is probably like one of the most popular, one of probably definitely my more popular song. Um but I haven't listened to it in so long.
Ah, it's a great song. I was gonna ask you like what if you wanted to like have any stories about how you wrote that song and did the video.
Um, it just came to me like so that beat what's kind of funny about that song is that like I actually had like some copyright issues with that record label. Um where they kind of like got easy. We kind of had to like to fight to get easy to be able to stay up. Um because it was like really just like the beat was already it was already a song and I
Mm-hmm.
just kind of rapped over like it was like they had like a song with like empty verses. Like if you ever heard the song, it's like a very kind of experimental type of sound. And so it would basically it had these very dramatic like strings and then it would play and then it would play as if like an instrumental for a verse. And then after like 16 bars, they would come in with like this really creepy, like digitally manipulated voice that would like sing the chorus.
Uh huh.
And then they would kind of do like a little 4 bars. Um, and then it would go back to being an instrumental, and so I was like, oh, this is just ready made. I just have to rap in these verses,
Yeah, it was
you
perfect
know?
for a rapper to take and do a track
Yeah,
over. But what
right. And
about like the subject matter of it? Like
mhm,
it's a
mhm.
pretty dark song.
Yeah,
I think it's about suicide. It's about
yeah.
I get a lot of like our generation's trouble with like pills and depression. Did that come from like a story, or is it like a collection of stories, or
Yeah, like a collection of people and stories, like, and even like my own personal battles with like depression. And I think we've all asked ourselves that question, or felt like at one point, like considered what would that look like, you know what I mean, to like actually take your own life. Um, and it's not something that I ever seriously considered, but you know how it is when you're young and you feel trapped,
yeah,
you know. But um, I was definitely drawing, like you were right. Like I think we grew up in the middle of like a pandemic or an epidemic of prescription drugs. And, there's people that like I went to school with who died that way, accidental, whether accidental overdose or whatever the case may have been. You know, we still seeing it. We
yeah,
still see it. It's still happening. Like it's still happening. Like it's crazy because like I was in Jersey recently. I was staying in Trenton. My Airbnb was in Trenton, and just driving through the town. I was like, "Yo, like Trenton looks nice now." Like, but then when I kind of drive through Heightstown, I'm like, "This town looks worse."
wow,
Not really. No, Heightstown's great. Heightstown looks great, amazing. Heightstown looks good. Heightstown's better now. It's definitely changing, but like some of the stories that I was drawn for songs like Easy were like more stories from like my time in Heightstown. Like when I
mm,
think of a lot of the people who suffer with like who battle those type of demons, it is like and rest in peace some of the people that we lost recently from Heightstown, from the township. Um behind that and other stuff too, you know.
yeah. Whenever I go home, and last time I went to the cemetery, like the young people that are in there, it's all overdoses or car accidents.
Yep.
One of
Yep.
those too. But like I would say an unusual, like a scarily high number of people, that young kids that overdose, whether it be pills or what have you. But
Yeah. It's true. A lot of people that we went to school with and we grew up with, like it's crazy. Like, it's like some people very recently. Like, I don't want to say any names because I don't know people's situations, and some of this stuff is fresh, very fresh. But it's it's just crazy. And it's so crazy because that song Easy is like it's not like I knew it was interesting and different, and I wanted to be very different, especially back then. I wanted to sound different than everything else, so it was perfect. And I knew the subject matter was kind of could be explosive, but it is so crazy. Just like even to this day, like when I talk to people who like have listened to my music, that's like the number one song that people bring up. And at the time, I didn't like. I don't know. I have like songs of mine that I do enjoy listening to, and Easy's just not really one of them for me. But I love that it's like other people connect with it so much. So
yeah, I
I love
actually,
that.
when people like a song that I made that I didn't really like that much, or it wasn't
Yeah,
my favorite, it's like almost better than if you like this song that's my favorite song. It's like, oh, cool,
exactly.
like that had something for somebody.
Right, exactly. You know exactly what I'm talking about. Yeah, it's kind of like a cool thing. You
Yeah.
know?
It's like, great, I was gonna cut that from the album. I'm glad
I almost didn't release that. Like everybody thought I was crazy when I dropped that shit.
Well, I mean, it also has a beautiful video, and like, I mean, you have
Yeah.
bars in there. I think you start out. You said, like, how am I supposed to get my shit straight when my situation wrote my mixtape? And
Yeah.
like that bar, I feel like is such an interesting concept for an artist, because I think so much as artists we think that uh, either we could use our whole fucked up life for art, or if our life isn't that
Mm.
fucked up, that we could
Yeah.
actually, or maybe we should actually make it worse. And
Yeah.
then, and like as I've
Yeah.
gotten older, I'm like, that's such a dangerous and foolish idea.
Oh my God. And we see so many people gonna get so many artists get trapped in that. And it's true. It's like as an artist, sometimes it feels like if your life isn't chaotic, then it's boring. It's like you need chaos to be interesting enough to for the masses. It's like this weird thing. Like even like Mary J. The great Mary J. Blige is like an artist where it's kind of like there's like an ongoing joke that like everyone's just waiting for her next breakup so she can drop a great album.
Mm,
And I'm like, how
yeah,
selfish is that? Like, as a consumer, it's like you love this artist, but your love for them is that like you just you want their life to be fall apart, which is why I love
yeah,
Lauryn Hill so much. Because I felt like she's an artist who just didn't feel any pressure to produce for people. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, that's crazy if you have fans actually waiting for your breakup, because that gets you into a different sort of mood for your
Yeah.
music.
Yep. Yep.
It's I think it's kind of it's an idea where younger people like get caught up in it, but the older you get, it's like suffering is gonna happen inevitably in my life, to everyone. So
Yeah.
like to go out and actively seek more suffering to make art is so like impatient. It's like, bro, no, the suffering's coming. Even if your life is great right now, like
Yeah.
shit is gonna happen. And when it happens, then you can write your sad song, but you don't have to like
Mhm.
force it.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Like there can be happy songs, and it seems like people don't want to hear the happy as much. Like even like nowadays, I feel bad for these young rappers because sometimes we do music videos for like a lot of these young rappers through Louisiana, through New Orleans, Baton Rouge, and Atlanta, Houston, like, and being around them, like, it's sad, like, really. Like, a lot of these, like, drill rappers who are wrapped up in these, like, public murders and, like, deadly violent beefs, and then you meet these kids, and, like, I'm a little bit older now, and it's just like, I'm like, oh, like, this is a kid, like,
Mm.
they're really kids, like, and they look at us, like, as more like, as, like, adults. A lot of them are respectful kids, you know? But
Yeah, and they're forming their entire identity around like a certain image to create a
us,
product,
yeah,
but like
that
the
to
image is gonna destroy them.
100%, and it is destroying them. Like, and it's like the things that these some of these young rappers are willing to do in terms of like killing each other and then like mocking the dead, and then it's like, and the people just eat it up. You know, that's part of why they're doing it is because for clout. We as the consumers, we just that's like those are the most popular rappers. You know.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's almost impossible without the internet. The way the internet is, the algorithm is kind of trained to for drama and for hate and for things that get you riled up. But if you,
Yeah.
you're kind of monetize. Once you start monetizing those things, then you're like sucked more in that direction.
Yeah. Like, it's true. Like these kids are crashing out for clout. Um, you know, it's weird. That's why again, like shout out Lauryn Hill. And I think Rihanna. Rihanna's another person who I feel like's kind of been able to do that where people are just
Yeah,
like clamoring for a new album and she's just like, I'm a mother. You know what I mean? It's like my my priority is not to entertain you while you fucking drive drunk.
yeah. Yeah, it's almost like the
Like
world expects someone can be a good artist and a good person. like,
yeah, yeah.
like
That's
you have
just
to
I
be
guess that's
one or the
boring.
other.
Yeah, yeah. It's just like boring. You know.
Yeah,
Um,
I feel like it's a very Western idea too of the artist. I don't think like Asians have the same sort of concept of this like, uh, just
Crash out
crazy
artist.
suffering, crash out, die at 2033 or
Yeah,
what is it,
yeah.
27?
27. Yeah,
Yeah,
die at 27. Yeah, that's like a thing. Like I remember being a young artist, and all my other artist friends would be like, "Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna make it to 27. I'm not gonna make it past
yeah.
27.
Yeah, and it's
It's
almost like you take pride in it. Like I'm living so
yeah,
hard, so
like it's a
YOLO
race
right
against the
now.
clock. Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm trying to think of
yeah,
any.
it's
Yeah, I mean, certainly, I think there's definitely a couple who didn't make it to 20, but I can't think of anyone specific though. But there was definitely some who didn't make it. But
what the 27 Club.
yeah, I'm trying to think. I definitely know some artists who didn't make it, but like not. I can't think of anyone who like yeah purposefully did that. Or,
Yeah, I don't think it's just I just don't think it's talked about as much. It's not like it's just kind of like an unconscious idea that we have in the artist community. There's something about how like you can generate work from chaos and I think it's there's a lot of holes in the idea. Like you could generate a lot of work too just from being disciplined, you know.
yeah, exactly. Yeah,
You
yeah.
mentioned how like Lauryn Hill didn't
Hmm.
kind of stop doing music or does music when she wants.
Yep.
Um, you also I famously told me you're like I'm done making music at a
Yep.
certain age.
Yep.
Was she an influence behind that? What is your thought process behind that?
Yeah. I mean, I do. I think take heed from like a lot of artists who kind of chose themselves over even their own creations. You know what I mean? I think it's beautiful. Like, I think a lot of Lauren's, me personally, I think Lauren's story is a little different. I think Lauren had a family, and I think that was a big part of her kind of stepping away again to be a mother, which is incredibly admirable. For me, I just kind of I had kind of aged out. Like I say all the time, I just kind of got tired of standing next to like 21-year-olds on stage.
Mm,
I just got tired of hanging out with like teenagers.
yeah.
And
Yeah, I could definitely see that.
yeah, and like I had said a lot, and I spent like my whole 20s trying to get people to like look at me. And I think I just got like to a point where I felt honestly a little bit overexposed. You ever have those moments where like you just see yourself all of a sudden? It's like all of a sudden I could just see myself and I'm just like, I'm like a pretty sensitive person, and I've overexposed myself to all these people and their opinions, um
Mm,
and I got to New Orleans where I could be like more anonymous, and I started working in film and like making money actually, because I never really made any money in music for real. But started working film and started making money, and like I was just like, I didn't have anything else to say. I said so much, like you know what it means to like write write and to record, to do an album, and even to write a book, and I felt like my albums were books, and like I
mm,
did three of them, so it's like it's all right there, like
yeah. Well, it captures like a certain period of time, no, in your life.
absolutely. Like when I go back and listen now, it's like a journal.
Yeah.
It's like I'm reading my old diary, and I'm like, and like sometimes like I'll be like, wow, like I was an impressive young person, you know. But also there's like times where I'm listening and I'm cringing, and I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe I said that, or like I can't believe I
Yeah.
thought like that, you know.
Y-
Um,
Yeah, I
that's
mean
why I always tell
that's the
people
danger of recording something, putting something down on the
exactly.
page. Is you're always gonna come back, and sometimes it holds the test of time. You're like, wow, that was dope. I was right on point. And other times you're like, all right.
It's so true. It's so true. Like, that's why it's so important. Like, you're the only person, like I always tell the young artist, you're the only person who has to listen to your music. Like,
Yeah, you gotta
nobody else
like
has to
your
listen to
own
it.
stuff.
Right. It's like, do it, like, consider your future self, and like, consider like your kids might listen to this. Your future kids might listen to this one day. It's like those are the only people who really have to listen to it. So it's like, so let it be something that you actually like and that you're actually proud of, you know. And at the very least, if you're gonna do bullshit, then like at least get paid for it. So,
Yeah, if that outlet is open to you, but it's like if you're gonna do bullshit and not get paid,
it's like, what are you
it
doing?
what are you doing? Yeah,
Yeah,
I think I've tried to stop like writing many times where I'm like, I'm so tired of this bullshit poetry and
yeah.
music, and I can't stop. Like it's just
Uh,
something I can't stop doing. So it's made me be
you're a
like, all
true
right, we'll just.
believer. You're a true
I don't know if you.
believer.
I'm stuck in like who I am,
Yeah.
and even if I like go into a different genre, like I'm still writing.
Yeah.
Um,
No, it's romantic. It's good, dude. I sometimes I kind of wish I was like that. Um, but I'm still writing too. Like I have like I bought a camera recently, so like I AC mostly on most of the sets that I'm hired on as a freelance technician. But I bought my own camera recently, and I bought like a really nice camera, and I've been getting hired as an operator, and even starting to shoot my own stuff, thinking about what I want to shoot, and kind of thinking again with that brain of like what stories do I want to tell?
yeah,
Like it's a different medium now. It's not music. which I think is incredible. I think that's like I'm so excited to be able to transition to this new medium. And so now I find myself writing, but they're not songs. They're like scripts or
Scripts,
like
yeah.
yeah, like treatments, the beginning stages of early stages of scripts, and
Yeah, that's cool. That was one thing I was wondering is if because like your job and my job, I write articles for a living, and it's
yeah,
like I'm writing, but it's not my story. It's not the same creative process that making an album or doing stand up is. So I was
yeah.
curious, like, if that creative personal bug ever bites you, where you're like, this is what I want to do in film in the future, or
Yeah, yeah, I do want to like tell stories. I do want to tell some of my own stories. Just a couple more, you know. Like I might do like one or two films or features or shorts. Probably start with a short, which I'm working on right now. I might do like one, two, maybe three projects, probably three. I did
cool.
3 albums, but so yeah, I kind of have been thinking more with that brain, you know. Um, and you write crypto, right?
Yeah, I cover like Bitcoin and crypto news.
So you were talking about earlier how AI affected my industry. How's it affecting yours? Like crypto.
Uh,
It's crypto.
Pretty enormously. As far as like media is concerned, um, we've let's see what I can say. Um, they've cut most of the editors, so it's like a very minimal team where you only have a couple editors. But the copy editors, the people that used to be like the last line of defense before something would get published,
Yeah.
uh, that was kind of shipped out to AI to check. Um, the
Like to
graphic
check the
designer,
like
yeah,
to
to do
check the
like
like
a
grammatical.
just do like a last line of checks before publication. Um, they also the graphic designers um, were for the most part canned, and now as writers we like design. We use AI. We use Gemini to design a like a cover image for each article. Um,
Wow.
but
So
I
you're
know
using
some of
AI generated images?
yeah, and the company I'm with, like their style, even like 15 years ago, was kind of like futuristic, cartoonish, AI-ish images
Yeah.
for their cover. So it's not like a complete change in their style with this company. But they used to have a bunch of graphic designers that would create those images every time you did an article, and now it's like the writers creating the image, and maybe there's a couple graphic designers that'll check on it.
Yeah, that's
Um,
crazy.
but
So
yeah,
you
I'm
work
seeing
mostly
some.
remote?
Yeah, I'm all remote. Occasionally, I'll go to like a conference or something, but I'm remote.
That's dope. That's dope. Um, you
But
said
yeah, it's
occasionally?
no. I was gonna say like some of the other big crypto newsrooms I saw. Some of them are going like complete AI. I think in a lot of ways, some form of writing is being turned from like you were a writer, and now you're more of like a writer engineer, where like you're using AI in order to engineer an article, and as a writer, you can edit, you can transition, you could fact check, you could do all sorts of stuff you did as a writer, and
Yeah.
that someone who's not a writer can't do. But it's not. The game is changing quickly.
Right. That's crazy. Yeah, I feel like y'all, like your industry is much more impacted by AI than like my industry and even like tech. I feel like, man, dude, I know some people who are working in tech who are like, just like the picture of stability just 5 years ago, and it's just like, man,
Yeah, I don't think even 5 years ago, like the world was less stable than like 20 years ago, as far as like you get a job and you stay with that job. But now I think I mean, my attitude is like work hard, but don't think this is going to last, and try to be as flexible as
Yeah.
possible to be able to like pivot to do something different.
Yeah. Yeah.
Learn the AI as much as possible, but then like I'm one of the reasons I'm also doing stand up comedy is like
Yeah.
AI cannot touch it at all yet. Like it's
Not
an in
yet.
person. Yeah, I mean it could write your jokes maybe, but it's like you really need to be in person for it. Um, so it's
Yeah.
like a creative thing I could do outside of more technical AI driven writing.
You've seen
Um,
AIs doing like music now. Like, have you heard that song Rubbers?
I don't think so. Probably it knocks.
I When I first heard it, I was like, sure, this is an interesting song, but it sounded super AI to me the first time I
Yeah.
heard it. Now, if I'm not mistaken, it's like a young artist who sings it. Um, he says that it's not AI. Him and the producer say that it's not AI. Like the producer made the beat and he rapped on it. It's interesting though. Like,
It's hard to know.
yeah, like I thought it was AI when I first heard it, but it's like I have no reason not to believe this kid though.
I
Um,
go sometimes like the pop music they play at the doctor's office. I'm like, is this all AI? Because it's like you have these amazing singers, but they sound like soulless and robots. But that's been happening before AI, where it's just like the soul has been sucked out of like a whole genre of music.
yeah, the
But
Muzak. I think they call that
music,
Muzak.
music, muse whack.
Yes, Muzak.
There's a guy. What were you gonna say?
No, no, I was just agreeing with what you said.
There's a guy out of Mexico. I forget his name, but he's a rapper. And he does these videos, and it's all very like patriotic kind of Mexican themes, like indigenous roots, patria. Like it's very evoking of like a Mexican pride, and it's all fucking AI. Like
What?
even the even the guy, he has a bandana on his
He's
face,
not a real guy?
like that. It's kind of up in the. It's like people are arguing about it now, but
Yeah.
most people think he's just completely AI. Like it might just be some fat kid in his mom's basement, and he's doing everything.
Yep,
Um,
yep. Kind of the same with
and
this
it's
guy.
yeah,
Yeah, Feenan Flexen is his name.
being in flex, and I'll have to check it out.
Yeah, check it out. It's interesting. It's kind of sounds like an 80s like rap song, honestly. It's definitely interesting. Like there is like an infectious, but yeah, like there's songs that have come on my playlist and I'll be listening to it, and then like only later I'll find out like, oh shit, this is an AI artist. You know,
Wow.
and the songs will
Yeah.
be halfway decent, and it's just like I think now at this point I can kind of tell more or less like after two or three songs, but it's like if an AI can write a song, like you don't think they could do a comedy set?
Well, I think they can do a comedy set, but I don't think anyone's gonna go to see a live show of like a Waymo robot doing his comedy set.
Yeah, you're
And
right.
that robot doesn't even exist yet. So maybe in 20, 30 years, people will, but at least the next 20, 30 years, it's like something creative I can do that I don't think AI can really,
What
really
if it's like a
touch.
puppet? What if they had like a
Well,
puppet?
they already had puppets though. Like you could go with a puppet.
Yeah, like
I'll
a
take
puppet
my stand
show,
up again. I'll take my stand up against your puppet show. Like,
or like a ventriloquist. Yeah, you're right. I think like in person. Yeah, live sports is like that too. Well, live music is like that too.
live music. I think live everything is
Yeah,
gonna maintain, and I also think artists might start like one thing that AI does a lot is like be so perfect that like
yeah,
the song has no problems and thus no soul, and
yeah,
like you could feel that. And like I think artists might start making like more and more mistakes, like
Mm-hmm.
intentional mistakes,
Yeah,
intentional sloppiness.
yeah, yeah. I used to do that, like I would slur my words in certain parts of songs, and like Easy. Easy was one of the reasons I liked Easy was because it was like a little bit off rhythm. It was
Mm.
like abstract and like a little bit messy. Um, which I think you're right. I think those are the things that are kind of harder for AI to replicate. You
Yeah,
know, but
yeah. All right, I got one more question for you
yeah,
before we head out of here. All right, so you and me, you're from New Jersey, similar area as I am.
yeah,
Um, Shout out Jersey. Every
yeah.
time
Big Jersey.
I drive my friends crazy here because like we're watching the World Cup and they're like from East Rutherford, New Jersey, and I gotta go Jersey.
Exactly. Yeah. That was me during the finals. Every time,
Yeah,
because half those
exactly.
people in the game were from Jersey, so I'll be like, Big Jersey.
Yeah, Dylan Harper touched the ball, Jersey.
Yeah, exactly.
What um, what do you miss about New Jersey? And is there anything that like I don't know that you learned in New Jersey or you take from New Jersey with you in your life?
Damn, wow, that's a good question. What do I miss about Jersey? I mean, besides the obvious, the fact that it's home, the people. Um, Parts of Jersey that I keep with me, I feel like we're like very direct people. Um, you know, and I'm naturally I'm not a very confrontational person, but I think being from Jersey, being from Trenton, spending a lot of my time growing up in Heightstown also, um, kind of like forces you to be more like direct. Like you can't be like afraid of confrontation. Growing up in Jersey in like the 90s and the early 2000s, like you couldn't be a dude and be like afraid of like confrontation. So like I do appreciate kind of like the tough towns that like we kind of grew up in where I do feel like it made me like more extroverted,
Mm.
like, Jersey people like to argue.
Yeah, it's like a sport. It's like an art for us.
Yeah. Yeah, we like to argue, like we like to joke. Like I'm the type of person, like I walk into a room and like I was on set with these kids on this weekend. I shouldn't call them kids, we're all grown adults. But yeah, it was my first time working with like a lot of them. And so in my mind, I walk into the room and like I start like dissecting them and just looking at them and thinking of jokes for them. Just so that like if any of them said anything slick to me, I already got a
You
joke.
already have
Like
something in the bag.
I'm just waiting for one of y'all to say something to me for real. And I feel like that's a very Jersey thing. Like I remember first day of school, a lot of first day of school, you come, you got your new class, and like I'll just be scanning the room and just looking. I'll be like, okay, this dude might be a problem. Like I start thinking of jokes. You just
Yeah.
start thinking of jokes off the top of the head. I'm like, if one of y'all say something to me, I'm gonna flame you. You don't even know it. You know, and I feel like that's a very Jersey thing. You know,
Yeah, I think it is. Like talking shit.
yeah,
I've been in so many rooms in Jersey where there's just people unleashing on each other, all in good sport.
yep, yep, yeah. All in good sport. But it sets you up for life. Like when you go to other places, you're like a little bit not tougher, but like we're good at like pretending like we're tough. There's a lot of tough people in Jersey too. That's for real tough. But
Yeah.
like, if you're not from Jersey, you can hear two people having a conversation and you would think they're about to fight. But it's like that's just nah. They're like actually best friends. Like,
Yeah, maybe there's something about so many people. Like it's the most densely populated state in the U.S. So there's something about
yeah,
that that makes it like competitive, at least in a way, even if not confrontational. There's like
Yeah.
you gotta be able to bounce off people and fight back,
Yeah.
even if it's just like verbally.
Yeah. You gotta like you have to like you gotta be able to like fight back. Like that's one thing I learned for real growing up in Jersey is like you really only lose if you don't fight back,
Mm.
you know. Um so yeah, I'll always love that about Jersey. Like I love going back. I love the weather.
Yeah.
Um the fashion forwardness, like we like to dress in Jersey, you know. I feel like Jersey gave me like a nice foundation of just like what's fly and what's not. It's almost like second nature being from like where we're from, but like just growing up and traveling and realizing that like everybody's not like that. Like everybody don't know like, the difference between Nikes and Air Jordans and like, like what Penny Hardaways are, like Jason Kidd they just re-released Jason Kidd's new sneakers. Yeah, it's like most people don't know what those are. Like sneakerhead culture, you know. Um, yeah, I
Yeah.
love going back.
Ba- Yeah, me
Um,
too. Shout out to Jersey. It's been a while since I've been back.
yeah, shout out to the Dirty Jersey. Um, before I let you go, last time we talked, we had a really interesting conversation. I don't know if you want to like go there on this one about the Go Home Gringo movement.
Mm.
I don't know if you want to go there on this one, but I did think it was like a really interesting conversation about like some of your experiences in you've been in Mexico City forever now, right?
Yeah, it's been about 10 years now.
Yeah. And I know you're married to a Mexican woman and last time we talked a little bit about how much acceptance you found like just in your everyday life from like incredible Mexican citizens, Mexican natives. But I know there has been that like gringo go home movement. Is that the name of the movement?
I don't know if that's the official name. It might be, which is better than the Kill the Gringo movement, actually. I
All
support it
right.
more.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah.
yeah, I
What's
mean,
your experience been with these people?
well, I guess the whole issue. I've been here about 10 years, right? Um, when I moved here 10 years ago, there were very few gringos and very few foreigners, right? I could walk around for days and not see another foreigner. Um,
Hmm.
Post COVID, there started to be, more foreigners traveling. And because Mexico was kind of more lenient and open than the rest of the world, especially like the US, Canada, Europe,
Of course.
um, a lot of people settled in Mexico City.
Hmm.
So there's like two specific neighborhoods here where you'll go and there'll be an unusual level of foreigners for Mexico, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
Roma.
Roma and Condesa, and
Hmm.
they're traditionally like upper middle class neighborhoods. It's not necessarily new because even in like the beat poets and like famous artists from Europe used to when
Yeah,
they come to Mexico City would also stay in these neighborhoods.
yeah. That's where I stayed when I came to visit you last. It's been some years, but
Yeah, they're beautiful neighborhoods, old colonial buildings, like trees.
hmm
More they seem more like European than other parts of Mexico City, where it's like intense urban traffic,
yeah,
honking, not as many trees.
yeah.
But I guess to answer your question, like my experience has been different throughout my years here.
Hmm.
Um, for the most part, most Mexicans I meet are lovely people and accepting. Um, but you do realize, like, over time, I mean, there is a word, gringo, which
Yeah.
means like American go home. Like they have a word for it.
Is that what
Like
gringo means? Like, is it literally green go home?
there's a few stories, but I think it's derived from like when the U.S. Army was coming into Mexico, and it was like green for the uniform and go.
Mm,
Um,
wow.
and and I've heard another story. There was a song they were singing like about green pastures, blah blah blah, like an old army
Yeah.
song, and
Yeah.
so it was like green go. Um,
Yeah.
but I guess my point is that ingrained in Mexican culture is a sort of like distrust for gringos. Like,
Yeah.
like in the US, there's not a word for like El Salvadorian go home. Like,
Yeah.
it's not part of
Um,
the
there's
collective
definitely a
consciousness.
movement. There's definitely a movement for it, though. I think the word
There's
is MAGA.
there's certainly a political movement.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, I would say that the Gringo Go Home movement and MAGA have a lot more in common than they would
Yeah.
like to admit.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah. It is
interestingly,
kind of
here
ironic.
the foreigner go home movement, it comes from the left, right?
Mm.
Whereas in the U.S., the immigrant go home movement comes more from the right.
That's so
Um,
interesting. Wow. So how do the
yeah,
like more conservative Mexicans feel towards like Eurocentric like immigrants into their country?
uh, conservative Mexicans tend to not have as much of a problem with it. Generally
Yeah,
speaking,
right.
um, the younger left gets really riled up. The idea is basically that and it's not just Americans, so there's a lot of Europeans and Canadians, but the idea
Yeah,
is that they're coming with more money, right? Because they're working
yeah,
remotely, and so they can rent in nicer areas, and that's pushing up the price of real
yeah.
estate in
For
Mexico
regular
City
people.
for regular
Yeah.
people.
And I know it's
And
like it's really hard to like tax digital nomads. Like people, I think countries are now scrambling trying to figure out like a tax system for these more transient um people, you know.
yeah, and I think everyone has a different situation, right? There's a lot of people that are coming and they're transient digital nomads, so they're working 3 months or 6 months,
Yeah,
and then they're gonna go somewhere else. And then there's a
yeah,
lot of people that are more like me, where like I married a woman that works here,
yeah,
um, and so there's families that are mixed
yeah,
nationalities, and
yeah,
each person kind of has a different situation. Should a digital nomad who's here for 3 months pay taxes, but they don't get to vote? Like they don't. What would that tax look like? How would they
yeah,
enforce that tax? Um,
yeah. How would they enforce that is, I think, the real question. But yeah, I mean, these are complex geopolitical issues. But I did think it's really interesting that like the the anti-immigrant movement in Mexico is a leftist issue, whereas here it's definitely a conservative thing. I think in most parts of the world, this anti-immigrantism, is more nationalist.
well, because I think they frame it differently. So in the U.S., you'd be anti-immigration or anti-illegal immigration. Here, you would be anti-gentrification. So the left, I think,
Mm,
they have made gentrification and fighting against it a
yeah.
part of their sort of platform for the past
Mm,
15 years. It didn't start with Mexico City.
right. That's interesting.
So you're
Yeah,
not
for sure.
no one looks at me and says like, "Oh, that illegal immigrant, get him out of here." It's more like, get that white American privileged blah blah blah, get him out of here. So that on the left is
Mm,
actually, cool to say. Um,
yeah, that's interesting distinction.
I have a theory
Hmm.
if we're going down this route.
Yeah,
I think all around the world, like the middle class is collapsing and being squeezed.
Mhm.
Um, and I think it's happening because governments are irresponsible with their budgets and their money. So they're constantly printing money and they're inflating the price of everything. And people are using housing as a way to save their money,
Yeah.
not just own a home, but save money or
No,
even make
yeah.
money.
It's a
And
retirement
I think,
plan.
yeah, it's a retirement plan, exactly, because you
Yeah.
can't save money because it's going to lose value every year. So you save in a
Exactly.
house if you can,
Exactly.
right? So
Yeah.
that's squeezed housing. So my theory is all around the world, people are moving. Whether you used to be middle class and now you're poor and you need to go live in the city because you can't live in the suburbs because you don't have that money anymore, or
Hmm.
whether you're an immigrant and you're fleeing your country and you're looking for a better opportunity. But there's a lot of movement happening, right?
Yeah.
And politicians, in order to get our vote, they run these campaigns, whether it's the immigrants are stealing your job, or here in Mexico, it might be the gringos are raising the price of tortilla. And it's like whatever they can do to get us to hate each other,
Yeah.
they'll get us to hate each other. And I
Yeah.
think that's not to say there's not problems when people move. Like there could
Yeah.
be some legitimate problems here if too many foreigners come.
Yeah.
And there's also legitimate problems in the US if too many immigrants come. Like those are
Yeah.
legit conversations.
Yeah.
Um
I think there is a valid conversation to be had there. Like being Haitian American, it's interesting because I know, like, obviously there's like a diaspora out of Haiti right now where Haitians are fleeing great instability on the island right now. Um, and Mexico has been a landing spot low key for a lot of Haitians. And
Absolutely.
yeah, I know there's kind of like, I don't know if you really encounter much Haitians like in Mexico City, but I've seen like, like Vice reports on kind of the other side of the immigration battle with Haitians in Mexico, where it's like I think they're finding opposition through the more conservative parties, like in Mexico, where a lot of these Haitians are, but then in this one piece specifically, I saw you also seen like a lot of like Mexicans showing warmth towards those Haitians too. Do you have
Yeah,
any
I
experience
mean,
with some of those Caribbean migrants or Haitian, maybe African, or even like I've seen a lot of Chinese migrants coming through Mexico even?
well, I mean, during the Biden years, it was visible here in Mexico City that people were just moving up through Mexico to the US. And
Right.
there were tons of Haitians, Venezuelans, Cubans, uh, yeah, people from all over the world, but large, like a large movement of Haitians, absolutely.
Yeah.
Um, and it's a distinct immigration than like a digital nomad, right?
Yeah.
Um, they're not staying in Roma and Condesa and
Yeah.
working at the coffee house on their computer. Like
Right.
they're settling in different neighborhoods
Yeah.
and finding work within the community. Um,
Mm.
and yeah, I mean, I've seen a noticed uptick in Mexico of Haitian immigrants over the past 5 years. It seems to have slowed down now,
Yeah.
um, because it was common knowledge here, and like you could see it visually. Like the U.S. is open, and we're going north, but a
Right.
lot of people ended up stopping in Mexico and settling
Yep.
in Mexico.
Yep. Yeah.
Um, and
How are those people received versus like you said, the digital nomads? Just by like the regular people. I know the state is probably more hostile towards those people, but how are they received in the community?
yeah, I mean, I can't speak authoritatively on it. Like
Right.
I've read some articles. Like I know a lot of Haitians have settled in Iztapalapa, which is
Hmm.
outskirts of Mexico City. It's part of Mexico City. It's one of the biggest areas. And I read an article about Haitians, and it was profiling these people getting work, and people were happy that they were there. I think I'm sure they all have different experiences. I would say this about Mexico: Mexicans are very friendly very nice, very hospitable.
Yeah.
Um, like you don't, you rarely encounter someone who's just blatantly impolite.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's not like a multicultural city the way like growing up in Jersey was multicultural.
Yeah.
So they don't have the same like exposure to the entire world the way Americans do. And in that sense, I would say uh, the average U.S. person is actually more tolerant than the average Mexican person.
Yeah.
Um,
I could see that. It's much more homogenous.
and I'm speaking in generalities. Right?
Sure,
This is
sure, sure.
not.
People from homogenous countries and towns and cities tend to like, they don't really know how to interact with people of other cultures.
Yeah, I mean, it could take time, and I mean, Haitians can quickly learn Spanish because you're already speaking French. So,
Yeah. A lot of Haitians
uh,
speak Spanish.
yeah.
Yeah,
Well, yeah,
that's
and the
interesting though.
DR is right there.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. That's interesting though. Um, so it's like a very complex migrant situation going on.
yeah, it is here, but it's also like there's 20 million people here. I don't
Crazy.
know if there's 100,000 gringos.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what are we talking about? Like point oh. I mean, you can. There's certain neighborhoods here you could walk around for like days, and you're not gonna see anyone who's not Mexican.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's
Wow.
complicated, but it's a. I think it's one of the best cities in the world. So
Yeah.
that's how great cities are. They get more complicated. I think.
Yeah.
You know.
Those games in Monterey, that arena in Monterey, breathtaking. That might be the most beautiful soccer stadium in the whole of North America.
Yeah, with the
Actually, I'm
mountains
sure
in
it
the
is.
back.
Yeah, like they should have had the finals there. Like I was just blown away. I was like, what the fuck? They look like they're playing like for the gods.
Yeah, yeah.
Just it's crazy. It's crazy. But
We
yeah,
should
I also
we
love
should
Mexico
plan a
City.
game. We should plan a we'll go see a game in Monterrey.
Yeah,
I don't know who
Kanye's
plays there.
they just did an NBA. If you have to go, you can cut it out, cut this. But do you see they just expanded two expansion NBA teams, Seattle and Vegas. But I think
Okay.
Mexico City was on that short list.
They got an NBA G team here in the
Yeah,
city.
the Generals,
Yeah, Capitanes, the captains.
Capitanos. Yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah.
saw. I forget what the Mexican kid's name is who won the dunk contest or was in the dunk contest.
Mm,
But he
cool.
was on the team for a while. It's good. It's good basketball. It's fun.
Yeah, yeah. Could you see like something like basketball taking hold in Mexico City?
Not
Not
this.
really.
It's like soccer in America. I mean,
Yeah, yeah,
I could see you like producing better players, but as far as like a cultural phenomenon, no. I think there's certain parts of Mexico where my wife is from, like Zacatecas, more northern Mexico, where it's a little bigger
yeah,
basketball.
yeah.
But you know, here in the city, like, a lot of times you'll have to fight someone to get them to stop playing football on the basketball court, which Jersey had prepared me for actually.
Yeah, exactly. Cool, man. Yeah, no, that's interesting. Thanks for sharing.
Yeah, let's close on that. We could revisit this combo in a couple months.
Yeah. All right, bro. Last thing I want to say is Kanye's coming to New Orleans.
Oh, nice. You gonna go see him?
Yeah, I just got tickets.
I heard the tour, whatever he's doing now, I heard is insane.
Dude, like the stage design, the globe. But I shouldn't have brought up Kanye in the last goodbyes because that's like another 20 minutes. But
Nah, we can't go too deep into Kanye.
yeah.
I almost went
I,
into P Diddy earlier, but I had to step back. We got to be continued.
Yeah, to be continued. All right,
All
bro.
right, brother. Good seeing you, man. Take
Yeah,
care.
man. I'll see you soon.
Later.